premiering at TIFF this year is a film. It's a documentary. It's called Underplayed. It explores gender, sexual, and ethnic inequality through the lens of the electronic music scene and amplifies the women pushing for change.
Yeah, but the spirit go beyond EDM now. It's a theme that will transcend and transcends all areas of the music industry, from talent to production. And to chat more about this eye-opening, electrifying new film is director Stacey Lee, who's joining us from LA this morning. Good warm morning to you in Los Angeles. Stacey, nice to meet you. It's a cool one here in Toronto.
Good morning. How are you?
We're doing well, thanks. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
Wish I could have some of that cooler breeze.
Yeah, it's super hot. We know it's super hot over there for sure. And LA's got some weather issues and, of course, the fires and all that.
Yeah.
But let's talk about your documentary here, because we both loved it. We understand it in different perspectives from different lenses as well. But we got to see it from your lens. Mm-hmm. Why did you want to explore this? What was it that sparked it for you to say, hey, I want to go into this and showcase what's happening?
I think we're in a really interesting time right now. When I started this documentary, it was just post Time's Up movement, Me Too movement. And to be honest, I think a lot of people thought that, you know, we're living in a progressive society, lots of things had changed. And as I started to look into the statistics, I was kind of quite shocked to realize that, yeah, only 5% of women on the top 100 DJ list were women. So that really was quite staggering to me. And also, I see a lot of parallels with a lot of other industries, and I felt that, you know, through the lens of something like pop culture, through the lens of electronic music, I think a lot of people could relate to this concept of not having your voice heard within the creative field.
You do a beautiful job of taking us around the world and profiling these incredibly talented DJs, and, you know, including Canada's own Raz from Niagara Falls, where she wrote down her goals in a diary, spent 2 years in her parents' basement, perfecting her skill, and then landing these coveted gigs. But what was the one thing which was fascinating that held her back? Social media. The Twitter trolls got in her head that these, you know, so many women, for some reason, get attacked and targeted more so than their male counterparts, was such a brilliant thing to talk about. And how do we monitor in this day and age where everybody gets to be so angry behind a keyboard? What do we do? Because it really does affect and play on people's mental health.
100%. I mean, you know, so much of it is you wouldn't go up to a DJ in a DJ booth and tell them that they should kill themselves or that, you know, their music is bad. I think there is, you know, when we're behind screens, it lacks accountability, it lacks a voice. And I think it's really, really damaging to a lot of people who are putting themselves out there, super vulnerable. I mean, being creative at the best of times, whether you're in the studio or whether you're up on stage, is such a vulnerable place to be. And I think it's so incredibly important when you're working in the creative arts to have a safe space and to feel comfortable. And I think that's such a prohibitive channel for a lot of women kind of coming up in this space. It's just they don't want to open themselves up for attack, and fair enough.
Yeah, and you know, Stacey, I worked in that world, in the club world, the DJ world. It's a part of my everyday life still, and you know, it opened my eyes still to reflect back on certain times, because I always worked, for the most part, I'd say 98% of the time was with male DJs. That's where the focus was, and it wasn't that the talent wasn't there, because the talent is there. It's the attention that is drawn, as you mentioned, and you bring up in this. You know, someone that has really overcome that through a lot of obstacles is Alice in Wonderland. And now she has her stage show where it's all female team, from the production to the performers. How incredible is that? And how do we make that the norm?
Oh, I love it so much. I mean, everything from what Rez is doing to what, you know, Alice in Wonderland's doing, Nervo, and all the underground DJs, Seattle, Toronto native. I mean, it's all about being there. And I think someone said it in the film really well. If you can't see it, you can't be it. And the more representation, the more women we see up on stage, the more women we see behind stage in the technical roles, in the production roles, sitting in the seats where positions of power, you know, that really slowly will begin to change things. You know, it's in the production and technical spaces, women are only represented, you know, 3%. Can you imagine how much music we're not listening to? And we're only hearing 3% of voices, and that's just for women, you know, women of color. It's 0.3, and we have a long way to go in order to change that. And unfortunately, you know, the World Economic Forum says it's not going to happen for 100 years, so that closing the gender gap. So we better get to work.
Yeah, Stacey Lee, you did get to work.
Yeah.
With this documentary, you did a beautiful job. It's thought-provoking, it's inspiring, it's powerful. It is called Underplayed, premiering at TIFF September 19th. Go online, get your tickets, tiff.net, for more information, and then chat with your friends, because that's how we affect change. One movie at a time, one conversation at a time, one story at a time. And thank you for sharing that with us. We loved it.